Kelvin, thanks for joining RCR Wireless at this year's FutureCom event in Brazil. Could you maybe talk a little bit about SAS's roadmap for the telecom sector?
Yeah, sure. I can talk to you a little bit. SAS is the big dog in analytics. We own more market share than the next 10 competitors combined. So we actually are huge in analytics. What I realized coming from a network background is there's not enough analytics being done using network data and to help grow these companies and make them more productive. So since I've spent all my life trying to be more productive, take the best company in analytics, and I chose SAS. One of the things about SAS is it puts 24% of its money back in R&D. So it's not only the best product, we intend to stay the best company out there. Some of the other issues that attracted me to SAS is 97% renewal rate from our customers for our products. So we truly care, and that is where our money comes from, is taking care of our customers and making our customers profitable. So on the network space, which is what you were interested in, I'm trying to get companies to move and advance down the analytics chain so they're not just looking in the rearview mirror to run their company. They need to be able to look forward, know what's coming up, and know what's happening. So, for example, I can tell you when a switch is going to fail. I can do capacity planning and be tons more accurate than what they are today. Companies are spending billions of dollars in network growth and network capacity planning, billions. And they're doing it with almost no understanding of where the market is headed. They truly don't know what they're doing, where it's going. So one of the large companies in America that I worked with had their top 10 cell sites that were going to upgrade within the next few weeks. And I went in and looked, and most of it they were upgrading to LTE. Most of their cell sites didn't have a lot of LTE handset traffic on it. So they were prepaid areas that had lower end phones, and yet they were upgrading them. So it was a waste of money. So I've realized that I can help companies not spend and waste their money, but truly optimize their network spend.
So can you talk about where you are today in terms of analytic installments or implementations around the world, and some of the key trends that you see over the next 12 to 18 months?
Sure. We've got installations virtually everywhere in most of the telcos, but they're primarily focused on marketing and traditional business side. I'm trying to bring telco directly into the networks, and we're starting, and we have gained some traction in a lot of the network companies. They're slow in understanding what analytics truly is. Most of the networking companies, you're talking network engineers, they're not statisticians, they don't understand all that stuff. What we're trying to help them understand is with tools like visual analytics, it's drag and drop. They don't have to know statistics. They don't have to write code all day long. And big data is a term that everybody wants to talk about, is big data. Big data is just a huge amount of data, and we've dealt with that forever. What's unique about Hadoop and some of the new big data is that you can store a lot of data much cheaper than you could before. That's not the real issue. The real issue is, what do you do with that data now you've got it? How do I turn all that big data into something monetized and valuable to the customer? How do I make that valuable to me as a business? So when you start taking switch data, for example, off all the nodes, and we all know that data is taken over. Data is the new world. But data is growing so much more rapidly than the income is for data. So there's a big gap. So how do I make the network work better and do it cheaper? You can't do that with adding bodies. You've got to do that with adding technology. So if I can pinpoint a cell that either has a problem or will have a problem, I can save tons of money for the companies. So that's where we're headed.
So as you've been there 2 years, when you meet with a client or a telco, where do you see the first point of engagement? Is it through the CIO office, the CMO office, the CTO office, or is it just across the board? Where are you getting traction?
Primarily, believe it or not, we get a lot of traction from the marketing departments who already have our products, and they are pushing the network folks to give us data. We see it in customer service is pushing network to give us data. So I'm getting network teams approaching me. I spoke to one Wednesday, and I got the VP of Network Engineering, and he's saying, everybody wants me to talk to you. What is it you guys do? How is it you can help me? And it's starting to educate and get them down the road.
So when you respond to that question, what do you say? What can you do for them? And then walk us through perhaps how you start an engagement with the telco.
In this particular case, we talked about first issue was capacity planning. Their capacity planning we can improve dramatically. In their case, they were using marketing data, and so where they run ads on TV was how they were determining where to put their cell sites. And I'm saying you're spending, and they were spending, I don't remember what their number was, 18 billion in the next quarter, some ridiculous number. And I said, how are you determining where you're putting your cell sites? And I said, wouldn't it be better for you to know where your LTE handsets are producing traffic? If I can tell you exactly when you need to grow, what your capacity of each site is, and when you're going to come to your limit, wouldn't that make your business? Oh yeah, that would save us a ton of money. The word we use in SAS is optimize. Optimize your spend. Truly know where you're going. You hear SAS talk about the power to know. It's the power to really know where you're growing, really what's in that network and what's out there. We talked about network optimization. So I'm trying to optimize for the network side. They've got switch techs in the field trying to go out and fix things. They don't even know where to begin. So in one case, one customer that I dealt with, we went in and we're looking at drop rates at that time on voice, and we were able to go in and pinpoint the worst cells. And by pinpointing those worst cells, he was able to go out and find the problem with his worst cell, found it was a configuration issue. We took him from a 5% drop rate to a 0.5% drop rate almost overnight. And there was no cost, it was just configuration. And he actually went from a director to a VP almost overnight because he was able to fix their network. Using data fixes the network. We just got to get more network people, and that's why I'm talking to you, to understand how much value they have in the data right there in their hands.
For those not familiar with SAS, how do you classify your products? What are some of your product names?
Wow, we have so many products, there's no way I could remember all of the names. Our flagship product right now that we're using is visual analytics. And the thing that makes it so powerful is you can take 4 billion rows of data, big data, and drag and drop, simple, don't have to know SQL, don't have to be a statistician, and you can see instant results. Those queries will come back now in a second, maybe 2 at the most, for 4 billion rows. So it's incredibly quick and easy to use, and that's made analytics available to the masses. And that's one of the things that we're looking at. Another product that I'm really a big fan of pushing is Forecast Server. People think Forecast Server is magic because you can see what's coming up in the future. A lot of companies use Forecast Server to know what's going to happen. I talked about companies right now looking in the rearview mirror. It's kind of silly to do that, don't you think? Wouldn't you want to look forward, what's going to happen? With today's modern analytics, we can tell you what's going to happen. Why don't you start looking forward?